You hear a lot of Americans say now, I want to get to Cuba before it changes. And is there, I guess, is there a uniquely Cuban culture? And can it withstand Starbucks and McDonald's on the Malecón?
Yeah.
What is that? How would you describe it? And is it only a revolutionary culture, or is it a national culture and identity? What is a Cuban culture?
It's a very, very complex question.
That's okay, we have 2-3 minutes.
But one of the most important figures in Cuban culture is called Fernando Ortiz, and has a theory of the transculturation, and that the culture is the result of successive transculturation. So I think that Cuban culture is changing all the time. We think that Cuban culture doesn't change. We think that Cuba doesn't change, but this is a lie. Cuba has been changing all over 50 years. Fidel Castro is Fidel Castro, but we have a Raúl that is a guy that has been changed. Everybody changed, culture changed, and sometimes what the people have is a kind of imaginary idea of what Cuba is, and what that happened with people like me that I'm not Cuban, and what happened with the tourists, that go to see Havana and see old cars and so on, but the best things of Cuba are in other places. And Cuban culture is not only what happens in museum, it's what people do every day in his life, in their life.
Did you want to say something, Rafael?
I think I totally agree. Cuba is completely changing continuously, but there is something about the Cuban culture as a form of defense. There is a form of dealing with the world, which means you keep your roots. And there is a phrase of Jose Marti, which is basically, our roots are in Latin America, our roots are in Cuba, we open our branches to the world. And I think that has been happening, and it's not new. The influence is new. Cuba never had an iron curtain towards culture or music. And we were listening to the Beatles even when it was not well.
Wait a minute, the Beatles were banned, remember?
Well, they were not on the air.
The Beatles were banned at one point.
They were not in the airwaves.
Yeah, okay.
But people heard them at their homes, the parties, the teenagers. So what I'm saying is that even in the periods of banning certain, I remember when they banned Jose Feliciano because he sang to President Nixon. And and then you would go and you'd hear Feliciano at every party with everybody. You'd dance to Feliciano. And that has been the capacity of the Cuban people to say, this is our culture. We don't want to abandon other influencers' experiences, but it is the capacity for the resiliency of that culture that I think will make the difference with the onslaught of I don't think it's necessarily the Starbucks or the McDonald's, but really it's the music, the film that is already there. And for example, people say, what will happen when the Americans come as tourists? Well, Cuba has received 41 million tourists in the last 10 years. So, the influence is already there. Of those, about 12 million Canadians. So, the influence is there, and it's a matter of dealing with the world. You're part of the world in a more integrated way than before.